You can walk into Harbor Freight planning to buy just a few simple items, then walk out unsure whether you actually saved money or ended up spending more. This happens to a lot of people, not because they picked the wrong products, but because they don't fully understand how the store operates. In this video, I'll share practical, real-world insights that help you better understand how Harbor Freight works so you can shop more calmly, make fewer mistakes, and feel more confident about every decision you make. You'd be awesome if you liked this video. 1. How your attitude toward employees affects your deal. Many people think shopping at Harbor Freight is all about listed prices and coupons, but there's another factor that has a very direct impact on what you end up paying: how you talk to the employees. This isn't about flattery or begging for discounts. It's about approaching conversations in a normal, respectful way. Employees know the store's inventory better than anyone else. Which items are about to be discounted, which ones are moving to manager special status, and which lightly damaged or open box items are still sitting in the back. But they have no reason to volunteer that information to someone who's rushed, irritated, or only focused on demanding a lower price. On the other hand, with customers who speak calmly and ask the right questions at the right time, responses are often much more open. Simple questions like, "Is this item going on sale soon?" or "Do you have any open box versions?" can make a big difference. When the store isn't busy, employees usually have the time and the willingness to check the system or point you toward areas that many shoppers overlook. This isn't special treatment. It's a natural response in everyday human interaction. Another important point is not putting employees in a confrontational position. Aggressively price checking, showing frustration when a coupon doesn't apply, or making excessive demands tends to shut down the conversation quickly. A cooperative attitude keeps things smoother and sometimes leads to options you didn't even realize were available. 2. The 90-day warranty. Many shoppers don't realize that Harbor Freight's 90-day warranty is essentially a refund or replace policy, not a send it in and wait for repairs process. That difference has a big impact on the overall shopping experience, especially for tools you've never used before. Within the first 90 days, if a product has a defect, works inconsistently, or simply doesn't meet your real-world needs, you can bring it back to the store for an exchange or a refund. The process is usually quick and straightforward, with minimal hassle and little explanation required. For many buyers, this clarity alone makes it easier to commit to a purchase. The key is to actually use the product right away. Don't buy it and let it sit unused. When you put it to work under real conditions, doing the actual job at a realistic frequency, you'll quickly know whether it's a good fit. If there's a problem, you can address it within the allowed window instead of settling for a tool you're unhappy with. This refund or replace policy also reduces the risk of trying new products. Instead of guessing based on specs or reviews, you get time for hands-on experience. If it works for you, you keep it and use it long-term. If it doesn't, you can switch to a better option without feeling stuck in an "I already bought it, so I'll just live with it" situation. 3. The service plan is about quick replacement, not repairs. When many people hear service plan, they assume it's a long, drawn-out repair process that's complicated and time-consuming. At Harbor Freight, however, the service plan works very differently. It's about fast replacement, not waiting for repairs. Understanding this correctly helps you decide whether the plan is worth buying and in which situations it actually makes sense. If a product fails while it's still covered by a service plan, you don't have to ship it out for inspection or wait for replacement parts. Instead, you bring it back to the store and receive an immediate replacement of the same item. The process is simple and usually takes just a few minutes at the counter. For people who rely on their tools regularly, avoiding downtime matters far more than whether something can be repaired. The service plan is especially useful for power tools and equipment that experience normal wear and tear. These are items that are often difficult to repair at home, and professional repairs aren't cheap. Rather than worrying every time a tool starts acting up, the service plan lets you use it with more confidence, knowing that if something goes wrong, you'll get a quick replacement. That said, not every product needs a service plan. For simple tools that rarely fail or items covered by a lifetime warranty, the plan adds little value. But for motorized tools and equipment you use frequently, the service plan reduces risk and saves time more than it saves money. 4. The good, better, best model. When people see the same type of tool displayed in 3 tiers, good, better, and best, the instinctive reaction is often clear: choose best for peace of mind. In reality, this model at Harbor Freight isn't just about quality levels. It also guides how you make buying decisions. Without understanding it, it's easy to spend more than necessary. The good tier is the most basic option. Quality is adequate for light tasks, low expectations, and infrequent use. This tier makes sense if you only need to handle a few household jobs or want to try something out first. The strength of good is the low price and low risk, but the trade-off is limited durability and performance. The better tier sits in the middle, and this is where many smart shoppers stop. Build quality is more consistent, materials and finish are improved, and the tool is comfortable to use for regular tasks. For most homeowners and DIY users, better often delivers the best balance between price and performance. It's not the cheapest option, but it's reliable enough for longer-term use. The best products are usually placed in the most prominent positions. They look better, offer more features, and feel more solid in hand. The real question, though, is whether you'll actually use those extras. For many buyers, the higher price mainly buys peace of mind, not a meaningful increase in real-world usefulness. 5. Harbor Freight still carries many familiar major brands. Many people assume Harbor Freight only sells low-cost house brands, but in reality, the store also carries a number of well-known brands that shoppers may have seen elsewhere. This makes the experience more comfortable for people who are hesitant to try unfamiliar tools, because at least they're buying names they recognize and know how to use. Harbor Freight doesn't bring in familiar brands to compete on image. It uses them as trust anchors. When shoppers see a brand they've used before, they naturally compare prices and performance, then evaluate other products in the store more openly. For many people, this becomes a stepping stone to shopping with more confidence, rather than focusing solely on the cheap label. That said, expectations matter. Branded products sold at Harbor Freight are usually versions aimed at basic needs, not the highest-end models. They do the core job well, avoid unnecessary extras, and are designed for everyday users. When you understand this, you're less likely to be disappointed and more likely to feel satisfied getting a familiar product at a more approachable price. One important benefit of having recognizable brands on the shelves is easier comparison. When placed next to house brand tools, differences in finish, feel, and pricing become clearer. This helps shoppers make more informed decisions instead of relying purely on marketing or the best label on the shelf. Like the video if this surprised you. 6. Don't buy until you check the coupons. There's a very simple rule that gets overlooked more than anything else when shopping at Harbor Freight. Don't buy before checking the coupons. Not because the listed prices are outrageously high, but because at this store, coupons are almost part of the real price. If you buy without checking, you're often paying more than necessary for the exact same item. What makes people careless is the feeling that this item is already cheap. In reality, many products are designed to be purchased with a coupon. The shelf price is just the starting point, while the reasonable price usually only appears once a discount code is applied. Some people buy an item thinking the price is fine, only to come back the next day and realize there was a deep coupon they completely missed. Checking coupons isn't complicated. Just a few minutes on the website, app, or in your email can tell you whether the item you're planning to buy is currently discounted. For higher-priced items, this step matters even more. The difference may not be just a few dollars. It can be enough to make you reconsider whether to buy now or wait. Another thing to remember is that coupons change constantly. An item may not have a coupon today, but one could appear next week. If the purchase isn't urgent, waiting for the right timing can lead to meaningful savings. Many smart shoppers don't ask, "How much is this?" They ask, Does this have a coupon right now? At Harbor Freight, checking coupons isn't a trick, it's a habit. It helps you avoid overpaying, keep spending under control, and most importantly, buy at the right time and at the right price. 7. 20% and 25% super coupons define the real price. Many people see 20% and 25% super coupons as a nice extra, but at Harbor Freight, these discounts often determine the real price of many products. If you ignore them, chances are you're paying more than you need to, even when the shelf price already looks cheap. The first key point is that super coupons don't apply to everything. There's usually an exclusion list, and that alone causes many shoppers to give up. But for items that do qualify, the price difference is significant. A product that looks only okay at shelf price can instantly become a great buy once 20% or 25% is taken off. Super coupons also change how you should compare products. Instead of looking at each item on its own, you need to compare prices after coupons. In some cases, a better tier tool with a 25% discount ends up cheaper than a good tier tool with no coupon. If you only look at shelf labels, it's easy to choose the wrong tier and pay more without getting proportional value. Timing matters as well. Super coupons come in waves. They're irregular and don't last long. For non-urgent purchases, waiting for a strong coupon cycle can save you a noticeable amount. Experienced shoppers don't ask, "Is this cheap today?" They ask, "Does this coupon apply to what I need?" At Harbor Freight, super coupons aren't random rewards. They're a pricing tool. Once you understand and track them, you'll know when to buy immediately, when to wait, and how to avoid buying the right item at the wrong time. 8. Some lesser-known brands work better with coupons. The most visible brands at Harbor Freight aren't always the most cost-effective choices. In fact, some lesser-known brands turn out to work best with coupons, and many people only realize this after several shopping trips. These brands aren't heavily promoted or eye-catching on the shelves, but they show up consistently in discount campaigns. What these brands have in common is frequent coupon eligibility. When you look closely, you'll often find that for the same type of tool, the lesser-known label comes with deeper discounts or qualifies more easily for super coupons. As a result, the final price after discounts becomes very competitive, sometimes significantly lower than more familiar brands, even when the real-world performance isn't drastically different. Another advantage is lower expectations going in. You're not buying the name, you're buying something to get a job done. When the tool meets your needs at a heavily discounted price, satisfaction tends to be higher. Many people realize only after trying these products that they'd been overlooking this category simply because the names weren't familiar. Lesser-known brands are also less likely to be excluded from coupons. While many popular or hot items don't qualify for strong discounts, these brands often remain eligible. That makes them especially attractive for shoppers who consistently check coupons before heading to the register. At Harbor Freight, shopping smart doesn't mean sticking to familiar brands. Sometimes the names that get the least attention deliver the most real value after coupons, as long as you take a closer look and compare final prices instead of relying on first impressions. 9. Inside Track Club is worth it if you shop often. Many people hesitate for a long time before signing up for Inside Track Club because they're unsure whether it truly saves money. The answer comes down to one simple point. The membership only makes sense if you shop frequently. Once you understand that, the decision becomes much easier. For shoppers who visit Harbor Freight regularly, Inside Track Club offers a clear advantage. Members often get access to discounted prices earlier, sometimes at levels that non-members only see with strong coupons. When you make repeated purchases throughout the year, those small savings add up quickly. At that point, the membership fee stops feeling like a cost and instead feels like something you earn back over time. Another important benefit is flexibility. With the membership, you don't always have to wait for a coupon to make a purchase. When you need something right away, the member price helps you avoid paying the full shelf price and regretting it later. This is especially useful for frequent DIYers or people with a home garage who buy tools on a regular basis. On the other hand, If you only visit Harbor Freight a few times a year, the value is much less clear. Many member-only deals overlap with public coupons, and without enough purchases, the savings may not offset the membership fee. In that case, keeping an eye on coupons is often the smarter option. Inside Track Club isn't a membership everyone should have. But for shoppers who buy consistently, plan their purchases, and know what they tend to buy, it's a tool that makes shopping easier, reduces the need to time every deal, and delivers steady savings over time. 10. Open box and clearance items can be deeply discounted. If you only shop at Harbor Freight when you absolutely have to, Inside Track Club may not feel like it makes much difference. But for frequent shoppers, the membership starts to show its value in very practical ways. Not through one big purchase, but through steady buying over time. When you shop often, the biggest advantage of Inside Track Club is saving without waiting. Instead of tracking coupons for every single item, you already have member pricing available right away. This is especially helpful for commonly used items, repeat purchases, or situations where you need something urgently. You avoid the frustration of buying today and seeing a coupon appear a few days later. Another benefit is early access. Members often see lower prices before promotions open to everyone else. For short, limited-time discounts, this early access gives you more control and helps you avoid items selling out or being forced into less ideal alternatives. For regular shoppers, that flexibility matters more than saving just a few dollars on a single purchase. When you look at the entire year instead of individual receipts, the value becomes much clearer. Each purchase may only save a few dollars, but over many transactions, those savings add up enough to cover the membership fee, and then some. At that point, Inside Track Club functions less like a random perk and more like a way to stabilize your overall spending. 11. The replacement parts system is expanding. Many people don't realize that Harbor Freight's replacement parts system is gradually expanding. And this change has very real practical value for customers. In the past, many tools had to be discarded over a single small failure, simply because replacement parts weren't available. That situation is starting to change. When replacement parts are available, a tool's usable life becomes much longer. A worn switch, a set of carbon brushes, or a small plastic component no longer automatically means buying a brand new tool. For tools that are used regularly, having access to replacement parts allows you to handle repairs yourself, avoid work interruptions, and reduce long-term costs. This is a benefit many people only appreciate after they've already wasted money replacing tools unnecessarily. What's especially notable is that this system isn't limited to higher-end tools. More and more mainstream models now come with documented replacement parts that can be looked up by product number. This shows a shift in Harbor Freight's approach, from selling fast and replacing to supporting longer use and repairability. For buyers, this is a positive sign because it adds choice instead of forcing a full replacement every time something small breaks. Of course, not every part is always immediately available, and not every tool has a complete parts list, but the overall expansion encourages shoppers to think more long-term. When deciding what to buy, you can now consider questions like, does this tool have replacement parts? Is it worth keeping long-term? Or is it only suitable for short-term use? The most important thing when shopping at Harbor Freight isn't buying the cheapest item, it's buying the right way. When you understand how the store operates, you avoid rushed decisions. By adding just one extra step before purchasing, you reduce risk and increase long-term value. Smart shopping isn't complicated. It starts with knowing exactly what you're paying for. Which tip from the video surprised you the most?